showing up. Russ was actually just talking about that. It's funny you mentioned that.
Well, we went last year. It was the first year for it, and that thing was popping pretty goddamn nice for being like the Toy and Geek Festival at the fairgrounds here in Puyallup. They threw it together, and it was actually pretty legit. And then this year, they got a shit ton of people coming in for autographs and pictures and all that shit. A shit ton. I mean, they're not like some, well, they are B-list actors, but, you know, they got like Tom Welling, that played Superman on Smallville, played Clark Kent. Jason Mewes, I'm sure he just needs money. And they got the chick that's playing Hawk Girl in Flash and Legends of Tomorrow coming. I mean, there's a shit ton of people coming for autographs and everything.
That's cool. That's how they make all their money at Emerald City Comicon. Is now everything's about photo ops and signatures. So they have the whole site. I didn't even go there. You have to pay.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, and it's weird because I have, you know, you'll see people post on their Facebook page or whatever, and they'll have 6 different people that they took pictures of. That's like $200.
$40-$50 a pop.
Not only that, $200 and about 4 hours of their time to try
standing there doing dick.
Fuck that noise, dude.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, I can walk right up to Michael Allred and his wife and get freaking a cool picture that I don't have to pay for, of, you know, with Madman and stuff. So it's pretty cool, dude. I wish you had been there, man. What did you think of ECC this year, Tom Garcia of Geekstreet?
I thought it was pretty good. The same as the other years. It was interesting that they expanded the hours on Thursday. It was open a bit later, which is nice. I think that was a nice thing to do for the community, because most of the time Thursday is kind of a throwaway day.
Yeah.
You know, why even do it on a Thursday if you're going to have everyone out by 5? You know, if you get off of work at 4, you're not going to go to the con. But having it stay open till 7 was cool. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I felt like it was as big as it was last year and without as much hype as last year. So I don't know what that means, but I'm sure it means something.
Yeah, they changed. And I think I was talking to one of our friends that used to work for our old company, Avises. He was a, what do you call that, a minion for the con. And he said that they changed the way they set up the signatures and the photo ops and whatnot. So the traffic was set up a little different, so there's not that much, just a bunch of people crammed into this one place. And it worked out really well. And like Tom said, Thursday ended up being a really cool thing, a really cool day for us to do what we were planning on doing. So I came with a short box of comics that I wanted signed, that I wanted graded, and because it's Thursday, not a lot of people will show up on Thursday. Usually people will go Friday afternoon, Saturday, which is insane.
Saturday's ass packed.
Oh, it's the worst. So we were able to do that, but I had a pretty awesome experience. So they had this thing where you can sign up to play board games with different authors, and that happened on Friday night. And a good friend of ours that has done the podcast, but we lost that podcast, so it's not an actual episode. But Seanan McGuire was one of the authors, and I got to play with her. My awesome wife signed me up to play with her, and she signed up to play with her favorite author, Robin Hobb. Really awesome, and it's one of my favorite authors. So the week before, my wife says, hey, you should text Seanan and tell her, hey, we're really looking forward to this, just let her know that you're going to be in that game. So I sent her a text like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm going to get to hang out with you. We're going to do board game. And fine. She's like, squee, whatever. Just really excited about it. She's awesome. But
Squee.
Yeah. But the cool thing was I then texted her and said, hey, Alisa, my wife, it's really geeking out about playing with Robin Hobb. Robin Hobb is her absolute favorite author. But she never said anything. This is like a week before the con. So Thursday night, we go to, we're going to go to this panel. And it's all these awesome women authors. And it's like women in sci-fi or something like that. It's really, really cool panel. But the cool thing was, Seanan comes in, says hi to us, and then she goes and sits, and she sits right next to Robin Hobb. And she's like, "Hey, Robin, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. It's so great seeing you." And my wife and I are sitting in the front row, right? And Seanan, like, he's like, "Hey, Robin, that right there is Alisa Garcia. She's a very, very good friend of mine. And that's her husband, Luis Garcia. They're huge fans, blah, blah, blah." And, dude.
Did you squee?
Dude, it made our con, man. It's like, you got, it's like freaking a friend of yours goes like, "Hey, Stephen King, by the way, this is Chad Thomas. This is a good friend of mine. You can talk to him. He's not some freak." Basically, you know what I mean? You're getting that introduced. And
you're getting validation.
Yeah. And, dude, that absolutely made our con. My wife was like, almost crying. She was so psyched about it. So anyway, that was probably one of my highlights of the con. So
Can I tell a story about the food? I think that was pretty funny.
Oh yeah. No, that was that Friday. That you mean? When we did the board game.
Yeah, we were just talking about
it. What's that?
Yeah, like we were just talking about.
Right. But this was a panel. This wasn't the board game.
Oh,
the board game. The board game experience was really cool. I can't remember what it's called. Salt and Death and Salt or something is called the board game. But they had, I would say, how many tables would you say were there? Like maybe 20 tables?
Easily 20, maybe 30.
But dude, it was Robin
Two
Hobb,
rooms.
Patrick Rothfuss, who did Name of the Wind, and all of these famous authors. Each had a table, and each did, there were 7 Wonders, the game. There were at least 3 different authors that were playing D&D. And you did that for about 3-4 hours. And then they had a silent auction. And Robin Hobb had this really awesome basket with like mugs and a poster, all this really cool stuff. And we didn't win it, but we did put a bid on this book of an anthology book, and I didn't even know we just lost Tom.
And he's back.
You there? Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
So this anthology book, and we put a bid on it. And we thought it was cool, and I love anthology books. And I thought, I'm pretty sure Seanan is in there. We love all her stuff. So we ended up winning it like $70 or something, which is insane. I thought it was way too expensive until I opened the book, and there is a freaking buttload of signatures in the front of the book of all the authors that wrote.
That worked on it,
book. Right? And then so I got it, and I brought it to Seanan, and she opened it up, and what happened? What was that?
Sorry, I'm turning my phone off. It just started.
I know, dude. It's really distracting when you're like fucking decorating your house as we're trying to do this.
Hey, question. Are you, hey, Chad, on your screen, is my dad completely frozen too?
No, he's moving around. But he freezes every so often.
It's recording here, so you don't really have to worry about it.
He's saying we don't matter what we see as long as it's all good on his end.
I just want to make sure. Well, I mean, I can't watch you talk, so I'm just like listening. So I'm just curious.
Oh, is it totally frozen now? Still?
Well, just I Snapchatted it. You'll see what but it's like it's pretty funny actually. It's like here I'm gonna show you. This is good content.
Yeah, it's great.
This is look at this. Like this is what I'm seeing.
Podcast people will love it.
Oh, dude, look at this. So this is what I see. Chad, you're fine. But my dad just like
I'm out of here.
He's like, done. Yeah, so we're doing this with Robin Hobb for like 10 minutes. It's pretty good.
Yeah, you have a shit computer is your problem.
You got shitty internet, dude. Your shit
me?
always,
That's not
yeah,
through
you
just
crap
fun.
out
Not
all
me,
the time.
dude. I have a gig download. I actually had a.
Yeah,
I
fucking
do
get
this-
download
this-
for what, another month, and then they're gonna
Is
fucking
there
start
a way that
charging
I
10
can
times more.
call back in without it fucking everything up?
We can try.
All right, I'll call you right back.
Dude, I fucking,
people
it's so
kids.
annoying to have him and he's like fucking doing other shit and it's so distracting.
No, it's just on your. Oh, can you hear me?
Are you
can
gonna hang up
hear
or
you.
what?
I already did. I called back in.
Oh, no
But now
shit,
you're
it came right on?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really quick. But your screen.
It went
Now
right
you're.
in.
Why is your? Yeah, when you did that, when you were mocking me, you switched the camera.
I wasn't
Switched the
mocking you,
camera.
I was complaining about you.
When you did that, the camera changed frames. To are you seeing that now, or is it frozen on my end again?
No, it's you.
No,
I-
it's just you,
you're-
man.
You can see.
I can see you talk and everything. It's in real time and it's moving.
Yep.
No, I mean, my dad.
Yeah, he's fine on
So-
my end.
I have the recording software that I have. It shows me what the recording actually looks like, and everything's fine. The actual feed is fine.
Yeah.
And now you're gone.
He's like, I fuck this, I'm out. And I'm back. Boom.
Yeah, he's
All right,
back. Let's see.
all right, we're good. Go.
Is he
He's
back?
back.
Oh,
Sorry about that.
there he is. You know what you could do
And I
on
can
your
see you.
phone
Very good.
if you
No,
want
I
it. It's
think
probably
we're
better
good.
on your phone.
Everything's good.
Hey, let me ask you this. SDCC, is that a week long or is that a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday gig?
Well, I think it starts Wednesday.
So how long
pretty
until Emerald City starts doing that?
Oh, geez, who
Because
knows?
aren't they like the third biggest?
Mhm.
Emerald City, New York, or San Diego, New York, then Seattle.
Yeah, I heard that this year it became the third or second biggest.
And if you're taking over this spot from New York, I mean, that's saying something about the whole fucking culture up here.
Yeah, it's relative, I guess. It's what you're going there for. All I go there for is to buy comics and try to find cheap comics. And there's maybe how many? 4 different tables
Well,
that you can actually look at.
the whole
and then the
thing's-
rest is just bullshit.
Well, San Diego, it started out as a great Comic-Con, and it was, huge. And then being the proximity to Hollywood that it is, it started to become pop culture, and they started bringing in movies and all this stuff. Now, comics are like secondary down at SDCC.
I know. It's like,
The comics are like in a little room by themselves, and the rest
Yeah.
of it's all just press junkets and shit like that.
hey, you want to go take pictures with the people from Modern Family?
Right.
I don't give a
Fuck
fuck.
they got to do with
They
comics?
have their own comic book now?
Yeah, no shit. I mean, I could see if they were actually one of them writing a comic book or was an artist that drew it. Yeah, have it down there or whatever. But when they're just promoting TV shows and all this shit now, I mean, I understand like Flash and fucking Arrow and all that because they're comic book TV shows. But all the other crap that's down there, it's like, knock it the fuck off.
Big Bang Theory, because they
Yeah.
sometimes mention comic books.
Well, I guess. I mean, that show, it's funny at times, but I don't see the big.
We're starting to see more comic book shows go out of their way to say like no cosplays or no dollar bin books or no kids because they're trying to try to get back to how it used to be where it's actually a comic book show, a comic con, not a pop culture event.
It's
Right.
like ran by Mr. Glass. It's like
Yeah.
Mr.
No, for
Glass
real.
Unbreakable. No kids. Did you see a little horse, a little kid riding a horse in front of the store? That's yeah. So I can see that how to make it the other way so that it is, hey, if you're here is because you're freaking serious about your comic books, which I appreciate. But that also can get dumb because I actually like the cheap comics. I want to see that.
Right.
And that's one of my... Dude, in 99, I went to San Diego Comic-Con, and I spent literally all day on my knees on the floor freaking going through quarter comic books.
Making dollars.
What's that?
You knew where you're going with that. Tom
I
saw
know.
it.
As soon as I said it, I'm like...
My eyes lit up. And like, all day.
Let's go ahead. It's like, toss it to
He
you.
needed
Here
the
you go,
money.
buddy.
He needed some lunch money.
Yeah. Anyway, so I was down on my knees mouth open,
in awe.
No, but I was able to spend all day doing that, digging through 10-cent comics and quarter comics. You can't do that anymore. But especially in San Diego Comic-Con, because you have to pay like 10 grand if you want a little table on it, and it's just so obviously it doesn't make sense. So what do you go for? So unless you're going with $10,000 to go buy several copies of whatever, some expensive comic, Hulk 181, then you're not going to get anything. And thus, I can get a $20 picture signed by Will Wheaton, So it has become a different thing.
Have you seen any of those pictures of the celebrities leaving the conventions with bags of cash?
Yeah,
What?
crazy.
Have you seen any of this chat? So
No.
it's actually become a thing because it's been year after year with the conventions growing, that these celebrities that make these appearances, a lot of this is all done under the table, and they're starting to get tax shit for it.
Oh.
Can we swear on your podcast?
Yes, we fucking
absolutely.
can.
So
It's called
there's
Get the
shots
Fuck
of
Out.
Like now he asked after the
that
fact.
makes sense, right?
We've been recording like an hour, and he's like, "Oh, can we fucking cuss?"
There's right.
Sucker.
Whoa.
Okay,
Shots
slow down.
of Norman Reedus walking out of the convention with like literally garbage bags filled with $20 and $50 bills, because they'll do, like you said, like they'll charge $50 to $100 for one signature and a picture, and their lines, they're literally for 4 days just person. They're leaving with hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Jesus
and
Christ.
cash, and that's just. And I just mentioned Norman Reedus. Think of like all these other more B-list actors, and this guy was in S.H.I.E.L.D., and it's like, who really cares? But he's still charging $30 for a picture. That adds up.
So remember, did we just miss that? We have a really cool picture with Tommy and Norman Reedus. He's flipping the camera. I thought it was amazing. And he sign a pack of cigarettes as well?
Not for me, but it was cool because this was before
It's 2011.
Emerald City was huge, and also before they were huge. So
He
they
was
were
there for-
there.
yeah.
It was season
Doing
1
that
had
Saints.
just dropped.
Well, yeah.
Season 1 of Walking Dead dropped, but it wasn't as popular as it is now.
He wasn't even there for Walking Dead. He was there for Boondock Saints
Boondock
2.
Saints.
Yeah, that's what it was there for. And he was there with Sean Patrick Flannery as well, at like a table like just right in the other corner of the table. And he was on the main floor. He wasn't where all the celebrities were. So if you wanted, you can be like, hey, can I get a picture? And he just would walk out and take a picture with you. Even though he was charging, it didn't matter. Now you have to stand in line for like 3 hours. You probably have to purchase a ticket to stand in line. Did you guys see that too, the whole Funko thing?
No.
Because that's something I talk about too. You have to purchase a ticket to stand in line to see the celebrity, and then pay $100 to get a picture with them. And this is the same guy who took a picture with 7 years ago, and it was no big deal. And the Funko stuff,
That's insane.
It's just as crazy.
What happened?
So they do these exclusives for Funko now, and Funko's a huge company, which is
Based
funny
on
because
Everett.
In Everett.
yeah, I worked in Linwood at Wells Fargo for a few years, and that was actually the in that area was the location. I don't even know if I want to say. No, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't
I
matter.
don't work there anymore. Yeah, there was a location where I ran the branch that the owner started his business out of. Like he was working with, he was in and out of my location, starting this company, just getting signed in for the first pops that were coming out, and he brought the branch a ton of pops that it was. I think he started the business in early of the year, and then by December he was bringing in all these pops and putting them under the tree for us to give away to customers. But anyways, it's huge now, and they do these exclusives. It's similar to what Nintendo does. They only make so many of them so that people go crazy and wait in line for these pops that they mass produce. And some of these pops at Emerald City, they're going for $500. I shit you not.
It's crazy, man.
And you got to Google it because you wouldn't believe me. But think of a Batman pop that you've seen 100 times.
Uh-huh.
The same pop, but it's green.
Yeah,
like the whole
different
thing is
color.
green. Like no, like not even like different suit, not a different bat suit. Like the whole thing is skin's green. Everything's the same. It looks like a prototype almost.
It's like you fucking aren't even
$500.
trying. You're not even fucking trying anymore.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, it's Emerald City. It's green.
Yeah.
And
Last year,
you want
they
to,
had, go ahead.
oh no, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that last year they had the 1940s Captain America. Captain America. He just has like the leather suit or whatever. And a friend of mine is like, "Oh my God, could you please get that for me?" And I didn't know any of this. I'm like, "Sure, I'll stand in line." I stand in line. He's like, "Guy's like, hey, do you sign up for this?" I'm like, "No, I'm just gonna stand in line." Okay. He's like, "No, you gotta go online and sign up." I'm like, "Okay, I'll go online." He's like, "Well, you need to go online a week ago."
Yep.
Yeah, you have no chance whatsoever.
So what you do now, if you want to get these exclusives, you have to not just go online and sign up. That's not a thing anymore. You go online to enter a raffle because you're not even guaranteed a spot in line to wait for 3+ hours. What you have to do is you sign up for a raffle, and then they tell you, okay, well, Thursday to Sunday, your ticket is for Saturday. Oh, you're not going to be there Saturday? Tough shit.
Tough shit.
Yeah. So
sell that fucker on eBay.
Dude,
exactly.
Sell that raffle ticket on eBay.
And there's people wrapped around the freaking stand.
The whole time.
A mile-long line to do this crap. To about a little vinyl freaking stupid action figures.
Dude, I got 4 of them right here in front of me.
Yeah, bet you didn't stand in line. But you know what
I
happened?
eBayed that shit.
Last year,
$8. Fuck you, eBay.
obviously I couldn't get it. I went and found it at freaking what is that called? The emo shop.
Hot Topics.
Hot Topic had it. There was one Hot Topic in all of Western Washington that had it, and it was in Marysville. And I just walked up. It was the very last one they had, and paid whatever $9 for it. And you can.
What one was that?
Say that again.
What one was it?
What
figure?
Oh, that Captain America, like 1942 Captain America, and it was just, it's so dumb, and you could literally just turn around and sell it for $40.
Well, here's the thing. Funko's got it down because they have Walmart exclusives. They only sold at Walmart. Target exclusives only sold at Target. Hot Topic exclusives only sold at Hot Topic. They got GameStop exclusives only sold at GameStop. These guys are marketing and putting out these figures in each individual store that are exclusive, so that's creating a hype around them, which it's fucking ridiculous.
They're smart, I guess. They're
Nintendo.
It's annoying for us.
Nintendo does that a lot.
Yeah,
they just rack up the
amiibos, video games and stuff. That's why I like
desperation for them.
The guides and the random like video games. Like if you want to go and buy a copy of Skyrim on PlayStation 4 or rather PlayStation 3 when that came out, you can go and find that. And there's like 3 different versions or 4 different versions. You have the anniversary special, the deluxe, the blah 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 blah, and they're all like $5 because they're mass produced, right? Everyone has Skyrim. But Nintendo, if you want to get a Nintendo game, you're going to end up paying $40 to $60 retail price. $40 to $60 retail price, no matter what, because when they release the game, they have like a limited quantity, so they're trying to keep that demand up, and that's why they hold their value longer. But they do that with their toys and their merchandise and their guides and everything, and it like inflates it. It's all artificial.
Oh, completely.
Yeah. It's a different way to do it. I mean, and it's smart, I guess. Like I said, it's annoying to us.
I would do it if I could do it. If I could produce toys, I'd do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's
look at Todd
smart.
McFarlane.
Fucking annoying.
Todd McFarlane did it with all
McFarlane toys.
Yeah, McFarlane toys.
Yeah, Tommy got to.
I'm looking at one of them right now. Movie Maniacs.
Could you tell us about that, Tom?
I missed what Chad just said. What?
I'm looking at one of McFarlane's toys. It's Movie Maniacs, The Crow.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he did all those, and he does Walking Dead. I mean, he started with
Spawn.
Toys are really.
He started doing the Spawn toys about the character, and that kind of revolutionized the whole toy comic book industry. Mm-hmm. But the problem is, they started getting so goddamn expensive and selling for so much retail that everyone was like, fucking piss off. I ain't paying no $40-$50 for a goddamn action figure.
now they're collectibles.
Yeah.
McFarlane Toys is like
You got to change the category.
Yeah.
You're not a toy anymore. You're not an action figure. You're a collectible.
step below a statue, basically.
Right.
But
I mean,
yeah, he
I bought two.
Crazy.
I have one in the box still hanging on the wall, and I have one that I pulled out. And that's the extent of my collection, that I buy two of everything so I can play with one and leave one in the box.
it was definitely
Shut
a
the
smart
fuck up.
move on his end, because you're right. He started he had the opportunity to do the Image comic stuff, started Spawn. Then he's like, I need to get into plastic. I need to start making toys, because comics are great, but toys. There's money
not
in this
dumb.
cheap plastic. And yeah, that's I don't know if you guys follow him on Facebook, and I'd recommend everyone do so. But he does, aside from just like random live videos of like drawing tutorials, which is really fun to watch. He'll be like, all right, you guys want me to draw a quick Captain America? In like 3 minutes, he'll have something that's like, you can see like the start of what would be a comic book or something. He does on his digital pad. And he actually does like live footage of his workspace, but his workspace, his studio, it's within his building of McFarlane Toys. So you can watch him go from his workspace into the halls where he has like these statues and these really expensive like prototypes, and then just like his show floor of all of his merchandise and all these people running around and shipping stuff out. And it's pretty cool. He's a very interesting entrepreneur.
Yeah, I think I saw, you might have shared it, him doing a quick sketch of Spider-Man. I think it was a kind of like
Batman.
a Spider-Man 300 version of it. It was freaking amazing. It's so cool. To me, it's like magic watching these guys do it. This art just freaking, even Bob Ross. Did you watch him? And the guy's like,
Oh, fuck yeah. Who didn't watch Bob Ross when you're homesick from school?
Dude, it's that guy. It's weird because it's so lame.
How
But
high
also,
was he?
He's
He must
fucking
have been.
amazing, man.
How high
I
was
think
he
he
painting
was-
that shit?
He had
I
it.
love
Yeah.
that guy, man.
He really enjoys it too, which
he
was
did.
enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, but to me, it's just like, you go, here, I'm going to do this, and that, and there's a fucking city. I'm like, what the fuck? You just rewind it. What did you
He's
just
throwing
do?
paint up there on it with a fucking paintbrush, and then all of a sudden takes a putty knife and goes, and swoop, shoom, 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 and now we got a force. Like, what the fuck just
What?
happened?
Yeah, and the weird thing is, like, he'll tell you, this is what I'm going to use. So find yourself this type of brush. You're going to find yourself this type of paint. Mix it just so. And just go like this.
Just a little bit.
And boom, fucking cityscape. And you're like, I missed something. How?
I blinked, and
Yeah.
it's done.
Yep.
But dude, I had a couple of really cool experiences at the con, art-wise. I saw Tom saw that I had this guy CJ Drayden, CJ Drayden make a Dark Tower painting for me, and I had seen him maybe 2-3 years ago, and I made a little video of him. He paints on glass, so he'll have a light behind the glass, and it's just like negative space type stuff, and really, really cool. So anyway, he did that for me, and it was pretty amazing. And I have a video if you want to check it out. It's on Instagram of a video of him doing that, and it was again. It's
What's
like
your Instagram?
it's like magic. What's that
Say
again?
what's your Instagram?
Instagram, GTFO podcast on Instagram.
At GTFO Podcast.
And also check out Comic Tom 101 on Instagram as well. Really, really cool stuff. I really enjoy your stuff on Instagram, man. So yeah, he did that, which is great, and it was pretty amazing. And actually, my daughter got me into it. She bought some pieces. I went there, and when I saw him do it, I'm like, oh my god, you have to do this Dark Tower thing. That was amazing. However, something freaking took me by surprise while I was there, and I don't know if I was tired. I obviously was, or not feeling well. But dude, I walked into the Alex Ross display area, dude, and I've seen all his Alex. I just seen most of everything he's ever done, and I just love looking at it. He's probably in my top 3 artists for comic books and whatnot. But dude, I saw this painting that he did, and it almost made me cry the second I looked at it. And it's a picture, a painting of Batman standing in front of his suit is hanging, and he's like looking at his back. He's like looking at something, dude, and his back is just completely jacked. He's got scars going from the freaking base of his head down to his spine, and he looks like he's been through war. And obviously, that's what it would look like, you know, if this was for real. And the guy that we know, he would be all jacked up, man. He would be completely messed up. And it completely stopped me on my tracks, man. I'm like, holy shit. That is so beautiful. It's so amazing. Someday, it's like one of my life dreams is to own one of an original Alex Ross painting. That would be amazing. You like that stuff? Like Kingdom Come and whatnot?
The what?
Alex Ross, like Kingdom Come.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was talking about. For the
I got
it. Was that was black and white. Yeah, Batman black and white.
Yeah, it was black and white.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the image that you're talking about. It's famous.
Dude, it was. I had never seen it, and dude, oh my god, it was so amazing. I had a freaking fantastic time there, man. It was I would say in the last year was kind of rough going to Emerald City Comicon, and it's kind of annoying, like we were saying, just all this, you know, sign up for this and pay so much. You got to pay hundreds of dollars just to stand in line. That to me is, you know, it's kind of annoying, but the fact that I was actually able to see really cool comic book creators like Team Sale, Jae Lee, Mike and Laura Allred, all these people, Michael Bendis. Brian Michael Bendis cut in line right in front of me to talk to Mike Allred. It was fucking amazing.
I recorded a bit with my sister meeting them again, Mike and Laura, and I did it in the Spider-Man cosplay. Which, by the way, I just did. I posted the video, Chad. You should check it out.
Oh, Chad, you got to see this.
It's it's just a video I made. Me acting like an idiot at Emerald City. I posted it yesterday. Oh yeah, I cosplayed as Spider-Man, and it was pretty good. Pranked some people. It was good stuff. But I did this. This part isn't in the video, but I did chat with Mike and Laura, and I did it in the Spider-Man costume the whole time. And like about halfway through, Laura's like, I'm sorry, can I just ask you to like remove your mask? Because I want to remember who you are. I'm like, oh, of course. But no, they're super cool.
Oh, look, it's Peter Parker.
But it's like, what if it was like that'd be so much cooler if I was like Andrew Garfield under there? Like,
that'd be hilarious. Tom Holland pulls it off. Hey, what's up?
Yeah, right.
Well, wasn't it? Who was it? Like at Emerald City, or not Emerald City, but San Diego. Bryan Cranston was walking around with a Heisenberg mask on through the con, talking to everybody, and then at the end walks up, takes it off, and it's him wearing a mask of himself.
Right.
Isn't that great?
Like, fuck
That's
yeah,
awesome. I would totally do that.
Daniel Radcliffe was walking around in Boba Fett gear with the helmet on and everything. Then took it off and is like, "Oh, you've been talking to Harry Potter the whole time."
Oh my god! Could you imagine if he went as Frodo? He looks. Have you ever seen where they mix Elijah Wood and Daniel Radcliffe? They look kind of alike, but
right.
Can you imagine he's walking around like Frodo? It'd be awesome.
Chad, do you ever grade comics?
No.
Or are you into any of that?
I have some I should have graded. I just haven't. I got to dig them out. They're all stashed away and everything. Because I've been collecting since I was 12. So I have like a bunch of old shit.
It's probably one of the bigger changes year over year, I think, is that culture. Right. For as much as the comic books have kind of got pushed to one side of the convention, the comic book grading company, the CGC, has exploded.
Yes, right.
And
man.
It is, and I'm going to make a video on it probably with Russ, maybe. I'm not sure, but yeah, it was probably the strangest experience I've had with that company. Mostly because I'm just like increasingly having the view. How is the best way to put it? I don't want to talk crap about them, but I'm starting to see their services being just as comparable and as professional as any other grading service, which really doesn't mean anything. Then it's just a business who puts a number and a supposed value on a comic.
An arbitrary number that they decide what it is, and they throw it on there, and now it's worth this much because they say it's worth that much. Yeah,
and it's like, and that is a true thing. I mean, there is something to be said about that. You grade something and you have someone professional do it, but to the extent that they've become a monopoly in this market.
Right.
I saw some really strange stuff happen at that convention, like stuff that did you see Dad, do I call you Dad on the podcast? I'm trying to figure that out too. Because I feel like
I call him Daddy. I call him Daddy all the time.
You got to remember, nobody's actually watching.
Hey, Big Poppy.
when he's hunching on his knees.
Hey, Poppy.
Papito.
Papito. No, but like so at the con there was a graded Harley Quinn that went at a 10.0. It was a mint comic book graded at that convention.
There's no such thing.
There is.
There is.
Very few.
I heard that's like a fucking unicorn. Anything that's a 10
is
a fucking
Well,
unicorn.
that's the thing.
It's a unicorn.
There's always something wrong with it.
You can have a shit comic that it's worth nothing. And if you grade it and it comes back at 10, it's immediately worth a bunch of money.
Right.
Just because you have a perfect comic book.
But that's what the whole thing is. I thought a perfect comic book doesn't exist because there's always going to be something wrong with it. Be it the way it was transported, a corner bent here, a fucking staple not perfectly aligned straight. It's off a fucking half a millimeter. So now it's not a 10, it's a fucking 9.9.
It hardly ever happens is the thing.
Yeah.
And what are the odds that it would happen at a convention that we're at?
Right.
Yeah.
So I am thinking that there's some fuckery there.
Makes you question it.
It does. And they have this service now, and they started doing it a few years back. I would love to know when they actually incorporated this in, but it's a huge part of their service. Before, if you wanted to pay for your stuff to get graded, you pay for it there, and they ship it for you to Florida, and then it gets done, and then they mail you the comics. And that's
in the sealed pack and everything with the seal on it, the stamp, and the grade.
And it's more affordable that way because you're saving money by getting them the comics. It's cheaper.
Yeah.
Or you can pay a little bit more, and they happen
$10.
to have a grader there, and they'll do it there at the show. And this show, I watched. How many people did you watch around that table say, I think they may have lost my book?
Oh, almost everyone, including me.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
So, and now granted, I don't think anyone actually lost their book because they're pretty good about stuff like that, for obvious reasons. But man, if you had 4 or 5, including yourself, people say that, I had around, like we weren't together at the convention most of the time. So my stories are separate than yours. That's a bunch of people who are like, I don't know if they lost my book. So you're telling me that there's so many people getting their stuff graded that their organization is fucking up. Keep in mind, this company's making a crap ton of money, like absurd amount of money off of the artists' signatures, off of the people who are bringing in comics that shouldn't even be graded. Like, it's a business, and they're making mistakes like that. And on top of that, they're putting out 10.0s. I call horseshit. Something is wrong.
Horseshit.
Something is wrong.
Yeah, dude, that I have a copy of Madman, and I have the very first 3 issues of Madman, and I was talking to my wife. I'm like, I really wanted to grade these, but they look like crap. They don't look like they should be graded.
9.9.
And right, so my wife's like, well, at least do the first one, and we'll have it just so that we can keep it and it'll be safe, right? But the cool thing is that his wife was there, and we can actually. It's a cool service that they do. You go get a guy from CGC. He'll walk to the table. The artist will sign your comic book, hands it over to the CGC. They take it, they grade it, blah blah blah. So I did that with the number 1, and Tommy was there, and he comes back. And it's 9.6. And I'm like, there's no fucking way. I thought for sure it was going to be 8, if that. And he came back at 9.6. I'm like, oh my God. And then I had a issue of Batman Who Laughs, the metal cover. And that thing looked perfect. Dude, I stared at that thing for a long, long time before I gave it up. I'm like, this has to be, I've never seen anything close to being perfect. Granted, it came back at 9.8, but I think it's arbitrary. I don't think they even, I don't know.
What's the criteria?
It's not. Oh, it's not. It's not. These are professional graders. They have a checkbox. They have grading notes. Right. They literally have to write down each.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay,
yeah, I
they're
don't know what
supposed to write down everything, and they do. I'm sure they do. It's just okay. So that's one of the process. You just described a witnessed signature. They don't authenticate signatures. That's the first thing.
Okay, that's what I was just going to ask you about that, because I got a bunch of copies of Wetworks by Will Spatacchio from Image Comics. Valentino for Nighthawk, #1 with the Image coupon still in it to get the Shadowhawk fucking 0, whatever it was. You had to get 7 different comics and all this shit. I got a shit ton of Image stuff I had signed by those guys, and they're in good condition. When I send them in to get signed or send them in to get graded, do they verify the signature, or nope. Now that's going to be negative on?
Well, you're just not going to go through them. You're not going to go through
something,
CGC.
Right? It says it appears to be signed, but it doesn't.
It literally they grade it and then they put on there. There's a name written on it.
Yeah,
it says name written on cover. Blah blah blah. 9.8.
That's horseshit.
Well, it's horseshit because
somebody can fake it.
Well, no, it's 100% horseshit. It's 100%.
I mean, I stood in line and I actually talked to Wills for like 10, 15 minutes. I go, you mind signing this? Wetworks #1. He's like, oh shit, I haven't seen this forever. And I go, dude, I was an Image fanboy.
It's not the best.
And then we were sitting there talking, and I go, and there was no one in his line. He's just sitting at a table on the floor. And I go, could you sign a couple? He goes, how many more issues you got? And I go, oh, I got my favorite one of Grail on the cover. And he's like, oh, and he signs that. And he goes, what else you got? Get him up here. And he signed them all for me right there. And we sat and just bullshitted for like 10, 15 minutes. It was cool as shit. And then I walked over, Jim Valentino's sitting there, and I go, oh shit, hey, I got Shadowhawk #1. And he goes, with the coupon in it. I'm like, oh yeah, with the coupon. He's all signing it. I go, where's Lifebuild? I've got, Deadpool #1. I want him, or the first appearance of Deadpool, New Mutants, 80 or 96, 97, something like that. 98. With Gideon on it and Domino and all this. And I'm all, where's he at? And he goes, oh yeah, Rob's not going to make it. Oh, fucker. Guy can't draw feet and he can't show up at cons.
Can't draw a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So.
Rob. While we're on that same note, Rob, while we're at the con, tweeted that he will no longer work with CGC. He is now a CBCS exclusive. So what they did is they do a service where they witness the signature. That's what it was just being described. They don't have a signature authenticator, which is funny because it's a huge job. Like there's a ton of people who are signature authenticators. I could authenticate a handful of signatures. I know a handful of creator signature like the back of my hand. I know it better than most people's signatures. Like similar to my signature. People have jobs where that's all they do. And PGX and CBCS and I'm sure other grading companies I'm not thinking of, they have that as a service. CGC doesn't even have that as a service because they want it to be restricted. They want it to be this process where you have to be at the con and pay an extra $20 to have their guy stand with you to watch it take place when it's the same thing. You're not going to fool somebody. It 100% is.
And it's weird because I had a Rick and Morty comic book, right? And the guy, it's one of those that has a white cover, so the creator can do whatever.
Sketch cover.
Right? So I go get them. I tell them, okay, I want this graded so I was going to give it to my daughter, and they're like, you know what? Just have him do it, and call me when he's done. So he actually, yeah, exactly. He actually,
you can hand it to a 2-year-old and have him draw that on the cover and go, he's done. And like, oh, it's an original piece of artwork.
Yeah, exactly. So I did it, and that's the other thing. I grabbed what I thought was the best, but it was also, it was kind of beat up, and that came back as 9.6 also, which was great. But they did, when we're standing in line, how many people would you say were at the CGC table? They have a whole block, right? Like a block, this huge, what is it, like?
They have 2 blocks.
It's huge. It's
no, they have
huge
2.
area, right?
There's
people wrapped around it. And the guys, I was like, dude, they're screwing up. You pay $10 extra for whatever you got graded that weekend. And for $10 extra, they'll have it done by Sunday. So it's great. And everyone that I talked to said, dude, I'm freaking out because I heard they're screwing up the labels. And I'm like, dude, those guys are professionals. It gets busy. Probably just freaking out about it, right? So I finally stand in line for about an hour and a half. The girl next to me, the woman next to me, tells me, when did you get yours in? And I'm like, well, it depends. I had one signed, the Rick and Morty. I had it done Thursday. So the very first day of the con, and then I had one done on Saturday, so it was a day ago. So, and she's like, I was at the con, and within 20 minutes of me being in the con, I had them do this signature thing, and it's not done yet on Sunday afternoon. And it is 4:30 in the afternoon. They close at 5, and there's over 100 people lined up around the thing waiting to get this done. And somehow they did it, but I get all my
They were there
comics back.
late.
What's that again?
They were there late. They did not do
really?
it by 5. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There was a ton of people complaining. It's
So-
not good.
And I finally get my comics, and I was super psyched. I see the Madman, rather. It's 9.6. I see all this 9.8 stuff. The Batman Who Laughs came out. Oh, it's beautiful. So, and I see my Madman, and I'm super psyched. And all I care about is like, oh my God, I came back 9.6. This looks amazing. It's signed. Guy leaves. And then I heard the guy say, like, yeah, they're mislabeling or whatever. So I look at the signature, and I'm like, dude, that's Michael Allred right there. And then I remember, oh, his wife signed it also. But because she didn't do the art, she signed it inside. So I'm like, oh, shit. And I look at the label, and her name's not, she's not on the label. It's just Mike Allred. And I'm like, so then at that point, I look at my receipt, and it says Mike Allred on cover, Laura Allred inside the comic book. So it actually the person in instructions.
My God, it's
said
terrible.
It's inside.
It's
and
terrible.
I look, and they didn't even put it on the label. And I'm like, fucking hey, man, I paid extra for this so that I can have it today. And now what's going to happen? They're like, oh, yeah, you're going to have to send it. I have to send it in.
Reslab it.
Yeah, dude, I'm like, I paid for me to get it today. So what is that?
Yeah,
when am I going to get it?
How about you give me my money back and I'll send it in to get it done?
Yeah.
So I want to unpack that for a second because that is terrible.
Yeah.
That's not okay, because okay, you paid money, they screwed up, mistakes happen. I don't care. Like, I think that whatever. I've had that happen. What that means is that the person whose their job is to go through 30 some odd pages to find any nick and cranny. The guy, this is probably the same guy who graded the Harley Quinn at 10.0.
Because the cover looked
Didn't
good.
open the first page to see ink.
No.
Crazy.
They're supposed to put this over light. They're supposed to put this over like
It's not supposed to be
infrared
done in a
light.
day.
Is there any type of like fluid on there? Any added touch up? Is this restoration? Like, what's going on with this comic? We need to notate it because that's going to affect the value. Someone will pay either $100 for this piece of art, or they'll pay $1,000 for this piece of art. And
Depending
why
on what
is
we
that?
say.
Because they have created the market themselves. And you just said that somebody told you that they were mislabeling. That's the first problem. And then you have a literal example of someone not grading your comic book. They probably didn't open the comic.
Exactly.
Well,
So
here's the
messed
thing.
up.
Insane.
Here's the whole thing. If you're going to be grading comic books and doing that kind of bullshit and putting an arbitrary number on it that you think it's worth with your check boxes and your checks and your punch list or whatever, you should have to be going over page by page, by page by page.
100%.
And you're not going to be able to do it in 30 minutes.
No.
Not even on a good day are you going to be able to do it in 30 minutes. You're going to have to take at least 2 hours. Then 2 hours would be fast. It should take at least 4 to 5 hours to go over a book, every page, every square inch of it, looking at it in every different angle, what's going on to give it a number. They're doing it in a half hour, maybe.
Oh,
and
no,
saying-
I think
they're doing it in
if
a half
they
hour,
give
maybe, and just throwing it in a bag going, yeah, it's a fucking 9.6.
You can probably grade a comic in like a half
Yeah,
hour.
it's
I
less
think that's
than that.
possible. But there's if every comic book was okay, even then, like let's just say a half hour, which you just admitted that's a freaking stretch.
How
many comic books were done in that
Exactly.
con? There's not enough time.
Yeah.
How many graders did they have? Doesn't matter. Not enough time. I don't
would-
believe it's real. I think
would-
there's
I would
something
say-
messed up happening there.
That's where you should go grade your comics.
Hey, so when you send your comics out, Rico,
That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, no shit.
I'm gonna,
No,
I'm
when you
gonna
send them
print
out,
stacks of them.
let's not talk about how long it takes for it to get there and for it to get back. But what is the time from the day you send it out? How long till you get it back in your hands with
Sometimes
sealed?
it takes 2-3 months.
Okay, what the fuck?
Sometimes.
If they can do it in a half hour at the
What
con,
are they doing?
What are they doing with it? They're just sitting on it.
It's because so many people do it in theory, but it's crazy.
I want to see
no
numbers. I want to see numbers of how many they do per day, per week, per month, and then say, okay, well, they're getting 10,000 issues a day. It's going to take a minute to get through them.
I'm going to make a whole video on this. I never even think about that. Like, what are the numbers? I want to know how many graders were at that convention.
Exactly.
Something is not right. There's some fuckery happening
in 3.5 days.
They're pulling a fucking Comcast.
How many people were working?
All right, and they'll charge you 10 or 50. How much was it more to have it done at the con?
So it's $10 extra to get it on Sunday, and $10 if you have it signed. So it's like extra $20.
So $20.
It's $20.
So they're charging you. They're charging you an extra 10 for a signature to go verify that that's the signature.
Right.
That's the first part. And if you want it by Sunday, you pay an extra.
Another
so you're paying 20.
So it's
$20.
So at worst, there's at least probably 30-40% of these comics that are getting $20 per extra on top of the $20 to $50 they charge to do the damn grading. So each one of these people is like $60 to $100 if they have one or two comics, and most of these guys are doing 8 to 12 plus comics.
Stacks.
Okay, Tom, let me ask you this.
What are the numbers?
How hard would it be to actually start a business, a service? Let's not call it a business. A service where, let's say, you're going to a con and you're going to verify signatures. How hard would it be for, say, the three of us to start a little service where impossible, where we can get actual
impossible.
Tell them about the other companies.
So the first thing that I mentioned, remember, is Rob Liefeld severed ties to CGC. He's not the only one who's done that. The reason why is because CGC has an exclusive contract now with Comic-Con, at least the biggest ones. They are the only grading companies allowed in these conventions now. So if you want to go through CBCS, you have to go to the hotel next door to the convention because they have a little room there that they rented out that they'll do your grading there because they are now being pushed out.
All we would do is verify signatures.
And the signatures that are worth verifying have contracts with CGC now.
Oh, motherfucker.
If you want to do a Stan Lee signature, you literally can get sued because Stan Lee's signature is only authenticated by the certified guaranteed company.
That's bullshit.
Robert Kirkman, Todd McFarlane, same thing. Wow. It's going to go through CGC. They literally have a label, a Walking Dead label for Robert Kirkman. They have a Venom label for Todd McFarlane. They have a Stan Lee label. They've made it a product.
Yeah. Trademark.
Because grading's super important, and it affects the market. It affects how much it's worth if they're doing it properly, which it doesn't sound like they're doing.
No, they're not.
They should be upfront. How many graders do you think they had there? This is CMAP.
I couldn't even
guess. 2? 3?
They would have to have
what are their
at
credentials?
Least 100.
How long have they been doing it?
No, they'd have to. That's a follow-up. But they have to have at least 100. There's no way, man.
There's no way.
No way.
You got to check their credentials. How long have you been doing this? Where did you learn? Where did you get your experience doing this?
You have to have the most
from Seattle. Did they
have to be the most
1,000 people from wherever, Florida, wherever they're from?
Yeah. Did you fly everyone up from fucking Florida? No, you didn't. So you're just grabbing people from around here.
So their credentials. It's not even like how long have you been doing it. These need to be the most elite people. This has got to be the hardest grading job any grader is going to do in a given year. 4 days over how many? I mean, how many books?
Dude,
there's a number.
I'm bringing 100 books next time.
And I want them all done by Sunday.
All done by Sunday. And I want to know how many graders you have on staff. And I want to know their average grading experiences.
I bet you
if you do that, Tom, you got to get those glasses with the little camera in the middle and just do like a fucking guerrilla documentary on the fucking fuckery going on with grading comics.
Well, we were there. We were recording stuff.
Oh, they don't mind?
We were picking it up.
No, they don't mind, but you want to get an authentic answer, and these guys are running around.
They're not going to tell you.
And like I said, I grade comics. I purchase a good product. There's a reason. There's a need for it. I will pay more money for a 9.8 comic versus a 9.2.
Because that's the final number it gets. It's right. This is the end all be all of the grade. These guys say this is a 9.9. Only thing better is 1/10 of a point. That's a 10-0, and that's a fucking unicorn. So you got a 9.9. You've got a piece of gold in your hand that you can fucking do whatever.
That's what I was hoping for.
Wow, and how is a 10?
Well, a 10?
How did a 10 come out at Emerald City?
Multiples.
What are the odds?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
And the guy, so it was the guy behind me. He's like, dude, this guy grabbed, and he had multiple Harlequins, and he's like, 10. 10, 9.9. I'm like, what?
You know
Do you
what
remember
they
that
should
300? That
Huh?
300 that I spotted? That Spider-Man 300?
Oh, that guy was crushed.
He was like, oh, it's a 9.2, that's it? And I walked through and I'm like, tick,
You're-
tick, tick, tick,
Yeah,
tick.
you're
How is this a
lucky.
9.2?
Yeah.
That was my response.
What they
Yeah.
should do,
Yeah,
honestly, with the graders, it should go. You have one guy go through blah 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 blah. I give it a 9.6. Next
Have
grader goes
somebody
da
else
da 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 da. I give it a fucking 8.2. Da 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 da. Next guy, they goes through
boards
three
like
of
that
them.
at
You
the
go through
Olympics.
3 graders, and then you average the number of the 3 grades, and that's your fucking grade.
Yeah, but it's
It
math.
shouldn't be one person. It shouldn't be one
shouldn't be
person
like
going,
that.
"Oh, this is it."
It's math. It should be. There's this here. It's like you either see it or you don't. It has
Yeah.
this little crack here. That's a point. There's no room for judgment. This is it is math, and just somebody either looks at it or they don't. So I think it's probably what I'm gonna guess that they were not ready for what happened this year, and that more than likely for next year they'll probably put a cap on the comics that are going to be graded by the end of the weekend.
No, you're gonna
I
have to
bet
buy
you
a
that'll be
ticket to get in
gone.
line to get your. You're gonna buy a ticket
they'll
to
have
get
to
in
go
line.
online,
Shit graded.
get a
gonna be.
lottery.
Maybe
Jesus.
get
$5 entry,
Yeah.
Oh, non-refundable.
Yeah.
of course.
So I bet you that was a thing for this year, and I bet you anything. We'll come back next year and talk about this, but I bet you anything it'll be all changed. And if
They
it's
brought
not,
a
I'm
knife
bringing
to a
shit ton of
gunfight.
comics to grade. Tell you that
Yeah,
right now.
this maybe
they
the
brought a fucking knife to a gunfight is what they did, and they fucked up.
Yeah.
What
That's
about
crazy.
what about Jet City?
Do they come? I don't know.
No.
I can't
They're not
remember if
even
they were
there.
there.
It's
But
not
it's
big enough.
smaller.
It's not big enough. It's
Yeah.
nice. You can actually walk around there, and you don't have to smell all the BO from the fucking people that don't know how to shower.
Oh,
They're
dude,
called
by
out of
the
their
way-
mom's basement.
I have, yeah. There's nothing worse. I realize I love going to conventions, and that's one of my things. I have a very sensitive sense of smell, and I can't stand it. And there's
BO.
nothing worse than walking through somebody's fart. There's just you're like, oh my god, this is amazing. That's Jae Lee over there. Oh, dude,
Just crop.
dude, it's fucking. Oh my god.
I'm so gonna go out drinking the night before we go to Jet City and just start dropping bombs the whole time we're walking around.
Every time he starts talking to a creator. Oh, hold on.
Baked beans and spam. Yeah.
No, dude, beer and chicken.
Beer and chicken.
Other than that, what else did you like about the convention? What did you do that you enjoy? You did a bunch of video content and stuff. That was kind of
Yeah. No, that was cool. Yeah, I mean, it's the same every year. It was cool seeing some of the bigger comic book dealers there. You don't see some of these guys only a couple times a year. Someone flying them from Canada or out of the country, Europe or something like that. So that's always fun to see. There were some really cool creators that were there. Mirka Andolfo was there, who did Batman Who Laughs, the Teen Titans 12. She's got the Unnatural coming out this July for Image. She does DC Bombshells, Harley Quinn, all that good stuff, Poison Ivy. And she was there. She flew in from Italy to be there for the con, as well as to be there for Image Expo, which was a week before Emerald City, which I also attended. I saw a lot of the Image creators that were at Image Expo at Emerald City. So that was probably some of my favorite stuff because I saw them before and then they remembered me. Some of them I made content around, so they they're like, oh, this guy made a video about me, so I remember and I'll be nice to him. So that was pretty cool.
Tell Chad how many Titans 12 you had.
Oh, yeah, I Mirka signed like 60 copies of the second print of Teen Titans 12 because well, no, it's
Do you
I
mind?
don't think
Are you busy?
It would be a dick move if I was selling them. It would be a dick move,
No,
but that's not what I did. I'm giving them away in my subscription box. I'm
Which
putting
is-
one.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
I wanted to bring that
Yeah.
up, and I want you to tell our fans what about the mystery mail call thing.
Our
Yeah.
fans.
Oh, sure.
Explain
We
it
have
to us.
what?
Explain it to Chad. Tell
We don't
Chad.
have what's this fan shit, dude?
Fan. I said
I know.
fan.
What are you talking about? We got fans.
It's Eric. Eric.
Hey, man, what's up, man?
Yeah,
The
man.
one guy.
It's Paul.
Love you, buddy.
Paul.
It's Paul. That's our fan right there.
Could you tell
right, Paul,
all of our
so-
There you
fan?
go, Paul.
Paul and Eric. So yeah, I started. I wanted to try to figure out a good way to start getting people comic books because I make all this content. And so what I did was I created a subscription service. You can sign up at geekstreet101.com, and it's pretty simple. I guarantee a at least one, if not two, graphic novels in each box that gets sent out monthly that total a minimum MSRP of $19.99. Many of which are more. Most graphic novels that I'm using are
That's
sealed
usually
$24+
Normal
dollars.
price.
Exactly. And aside from that, I also include 4 to 5 additional comic books / comic book products. And what are those? Those are all types of stuff from silver to modern age comics. Could be exclusives, could be prints. And you can follow me at Comic Tom 101 on Instagram or Snapchat because I actually showcase these books throughout the month. I go do the hunting, I go to the conventions, I get the things signed on camera, and then that's what I use to fill these orders. So it's the only subscription service that you actually can get collectible comics from. And aside from that, you're going to get something that you're going to enjoy reading because I'm not putting stuff in there that I wouldn't like myself.
And that's why that Teen Titans 12, he got, I'm sorry, I can't remember her name. What's her name?
Merca and Delpho.
Merca. So he got her
Merca.
to sign them, and it wasn't, like he said, it wasn't for sale.
It's
It
got
was to
eBay
send
in
to
it.
the people that sign up for the package.
Yeah. Because really what the package is a graphic novel. I mean, I'm setting out a $25 to a $40, some of these are $60 MSRP graphic novels that I'm able to buy in bulk just by doing this full time. And the extra stuff is like literally on the house. So I look at it like, well, the product is the graphic novel is what you're buying every month. Everything else is just free stuff coming from me. And if you want to see how I get it, it's just the gravy. That way if you get DC and you only like Marvel, well, you're going to be okay with it because the rest of the stuff is like there's value in the box other than that. And a lot of my audience are people who they don't just collect, they buy, they sell as well. They trade. And I encourage that. There's a ton of people who have already told me like, oh yeah, I'm going to keep half the box. The other half I'm going to put on eBay. And I'm like, yeah, you should do that because you can make money off that one book and then get a book you want. Because that's how I did all of this. That's how I own comic books that are stupid expensive. I didn't spend an absurd amount of money on these comics. I traded up to get to that point.
Wheeling and dealing.
Exactly. So, it kind of encourages that culture and the community. And it also, helps those new collectors get to that point where they can drop the kind of money they want to on a key comic and not feel bad about it because they're just trading up.
So let me ask you this. Single issue or trade? What do you like better?
To read?
Yeah, or just in general?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if I'm reading something, I like reading it digitally. I like reading a graphic novel. That way it's all right there, and I don't have to worry about messing it up. If it's in a comic book form, just like a raw comic, yeah, I'm always thinking about the grade. I'm always thinking about how I'm going to mess it up. And really, the books that are worth breaking open are seldomly ones you actually want to break open raw.
Because I quit like 2 years ago buying single issues. I go trades only now because they store better. They look better on a bookshelf.
Absolutely.
And if I want to read, I can take one with me. And there's 5 issues right there, 6 issues sometimes. And if you break it down with what they cost now, a 6-issue graphic novel, you're really paying for 5. And you're getting a 6th free. So to me, it's a lot easier. If I want someone to read a story, well, I can give them a graphic novel. Well, there's the first 6 issues. And then, you can give them the whole thing. You're not this stack of comics. You got, 3 or 4 trades. Well, here you go. It's a lot easier to manage than worrying about, like you said, worrying about screwing up a single issue. And storing single issues becomes a hassle.
Absolutely.
So I was like, I'm going trade only.
If you saw this wall over here next in my office, just packed with freaking boxes of comics, and that's just our collection, and I have another stack of stuff that I'm going to be selling, and it's total pain. I agree with you, but I am still a collector, so I like to read either digitally. I don't have a tablet at the moment, so I'm doing graphic novels instead, but I still have to have that
I still like to touch.
comic.
I want to
So
touch and open it and sit there and read it. I mean, looking at a pad or a tablet or a computer or whatever, that's fine and dandy. But I still like to be sitting there with it physically in my hand and fucking looking at it and flipping the pages and smelling it when you're flipping the new pages and all that.
Thank you. That's what I was going to say. That smell of a comic book is pretty awesome. But the one thing it depends what software
Make it a
you
cologne,
use.
Tom.
No, man, I want to make it a candle.
Oh shit!
Yeah, dude. I've been talking about it
Not
for
awesome?
a while, and I'm gonna actually. This is the first time I drop it on the mic. I am like committed within the next month to have a comic book smelling candle.
I want
because
to.
it's a good
one
idea.
to use and one to collect.
One to keep, one to not burn.
I want to have one. I want variant candles, and I'm gonna get into the candle game. I'm gonna do it, man. It's a
Variant candle smells, dude.
Why not?
Dick move.
yeah. Well, you know what? If you're
Just make it a different color. That's all you got to
if
do.
you're
It's the same
supposed to-
smell, different color.
different color,
Taking a tip from fucking Funko right there. We're not even gonna change the mold, but it's the scent. We're just
Dude.
changing the color.
But dude, the second he said it, Chad's like, "Oh shit, of course." Because
Two.
it's an experience, dude. That smell of the
old paper. That's all it is. It's old paper. You can
yeah. There's
I can
nothing
describe
better.
that smell perfectly for me. It was me, my buddy Matt, my buddy Tony. I would ride over to Matt's house on my bike, pound on his door. It's 8:00 on a Saturday morning. Matt's getting dressed. He jumps on his bike. We pedal around the corner. So I could live like 2-3 blocks from Matt. Then we pedal another 2 or 3 blocks over to Tony's house. We all got backpacks on and rain gear. And our coats and shit. It's kind of sprinkling out. What are we doing? We're riding our bikes halfway across town to the comic book shop. So we pedal our bikes, get our comics. And the comic book owner, Jim, was really cool knowing that it was raining. He would give us bags and boards to put them in so the pages didn't get ruined, so they didn't get wet. And then, he goes, they cost a little bit. So we would literally give him $5 and he would just reach in and grab a stack of bags, just a handful, go, here you guys go. And that's what we had those with us. The smell is wet clothes in my fucking bedroom eating 7-Eleven nachos with chili and cheese and a super big gulp, reading comic books.
Reading comics.
And then when I'd get done reading the X-Men that I bought, Matt would let me read that, and I go, well, give me that Spider-Man. I'd get the Spider-Man and you start reading it, and then Tony was like, well, let me read that Spider-Man. I go, well, give me that Fantastic Four then. So, and the comics were flowing between the three of us. They'd eventually come back to who bought what, but there's times I had everybody's comics at my house, and I'm just flipping through reading comics. I mean, that was my Saturday afternoon. 12, 13
Count on
years
your
old.
friends. It's like I don't collect Fantastic Four,
But I'm gonna read it.
Tommy does. So we'll
Right.
get together. I'll let him read my X-Men,
Yep.
but I get to read his Fantastic Four. That's brilliant. That's awesome.
And
Well,
that's how we
they
did it.
Yeah, that's how it was marketed back in the early days too. Like even if you go back further to like the 70s, that's a lot of those guys. You were either paying for subscriptions or you didn't have. Those collectors didn't have the money. Their parents didn't buy them every title, so they would rely on, hey, Billy, he loves Superman, so he always has the latest Superman, but I only like Batman. So then that's what would happen. They would trade him, which is also why most of these comics that still exist are super beat up and why there's so much value in the mint ones.
Yeah,
Because they've been used. They've been read.
Yep.
Just like that when we went to, Jet City 2 years ago when Terry Brooks was there.
yeah.
And I handed him a first printing of the Swords of Shannara. And he looked at it, just stopped and looked at it, and kind of, it's all yellowed out. And the spine's cracked to hell and everything. And he goes, this makes me happy. I go, that book's beat to shit. And he goes, I know. That's why it makes me happy.
Well loved.
It's been read.
Yeah.
Right.
I go,
Absolutely.
yeah. And he's flipping through the page, and he literally flipped through the page and was like, and it's that smell. And he's like, this makes me so happy right now. He signed it and everything. And I'm like, oh, dude, I'm meeting Terry Brooks. I read that book when I was 12 years old. And I was waiting for it to come out as a movie. But now it's a TV show. But okay, anyways, this TV show's
Pretty
pretty
good
decent.
too.
I like it.
Pretty decent.
I dig it.
So
And it's on Spike now
so
instead of MTV.
I think he was at Emerald City Comicon as well this year.
This year? Yeah.
But dude, there used to be it was called the Paperback Trading Post, and it was this guy's 3-story house, his house, and every wall, every hallway, every nook and cranny was books. And it's all paperbacks, and not just paperbacks. They also had hardcover, but you will bring whatever you've read, to freaking bring a giant bag of books that you've read. You give it to him, and he tells you, okay, you have so much in credit. And then you go buy it, and you get those books from the shelves. And, dude, the smell in that house, which is freaking just unbelievable. It's a great, so I'm really looking forward to Tom's candle. Comic book candle. That'll be.
You need to have comic book smell and book smell.
Yeah.
Very similar.
It's funny because like it's the same smell.
It's the same thing.
Right.
Don't tell
Well,
me. Secret though.
Well, it depends. I mean, the plan right now is to.
A librarian is not going to buy a comic book candle. They will buy a novel candle.
Well, if they want a book candle, they can already buy a book
same
candle.
Smell.
That's what exists.
We're just going to label it different.
That already exists. What doesn't exist is a comic book candle.
Oh, shit.
So when is this podcast getting released?
Probably by tomorrow.
By tomorrow, cool. So I have to just like get really on it. all of our all your fans are going to be Eric Paul.
All of our fan. Yeah, absolutely. So one last thing that I thought that I wanted to tell Chad about the con, and we'll close with that. Probably one of the coolest things that happened. Have you heard of Jonathan Colton?
No.
By any chance? Super.
Don't look so disappointed, dude.
Huh?
You look all disappointed. When I said no, you were like,
yeah,
like you were sad.
But it goes without saying. So Jonathan Colton.
I'm not on my knees with my mouth open.
No, he's a really, really awesome songwriter.
Okay.
And he writes geeky type stuff, which is very much in line with my old band. It's the type of music. They Might Be Giants, things like that. It's just it's all about the lyrics. Although he's a great musician as well. He was at the convention, and I was going to go to a panel, and with him, but as I was gonna, I was like heading to my room or something to get something before I go to his panel, and I walked by this table by the image area, and there's Jonathan Colton, and I'm like, I'll go say hi, shake his hand or whatever. So I go and do that. Hey, Jonathan Colton, man, I just love your stuff. And he looks at my shirt, and I have an Ukla the Mak shirt on, and he says, you like Ukla the Mak? And I'm like,
no.
Yeah, I'm like, you know Ukla the Mak? And he's like, hell yeah, I know Ukla the Mak. I played with him a long time ago at like a Borders or something. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. I was their drummer. And he's like, no shit. So this person that I really enjoy and really respect and love their music noticed not only my shirt, but my old band. And that fucking made my con. I'm like, okay, I could just go home now. It's all good. So that was really cool. And it would have been even better if you knew who the fuck I'm talking about.
Okay, well, I'll look him up, dude. Relax.
Suck.
Jesus.
No,
all right, so here's the deal. Are we going to the Geek and Toy Festival at the PL Fair?
When is this?
July. End of July. 31st, I think.
We're going to be, hopefully.
No, it
looks like we're going to be at
before?
San Diego Comic-Con.
It's June 30th.
June 30th
to July 1st. It's the very beginning of July. So yeah, I'm going to be there.
I could probably.
And what about Jet City?
More than likely, absolutely.
November, of course.
Okay.
Oh, there's another one too.
What?
There's another con that is
that Rent one's kind of sketchy.
It's so expensive. I mean, I love it, and
it's sketchy.
It was okay, but the first one we paid like $40. And
yeah.
No, this isn't.
Literally
That's not the one I'm
5
talking
minutes
about.
and I was done.
What is it? It is Fantasticon, I believe. Let me just pull it up.
Is that a furry convention?
No, it's actually no, that's a different one. That's a different. I'll get you that after the mic. No, this is a Tacomacon, Fantasticon. It's the third one they've done, and this is actually really cool. Well, first off, it's really cheap to set up, so I'm probably going to be there, actually selling. But it's a convention that started basically off of a Facebook page of the Washington collectors. So like we had a handful of guys within the Washington community of comic book dealers. They started this con, and each year it's grown a little bit, and it's in the Clover Park Technical College.
Okay, Lakewood.
Yeah,
in Lakewood.
I love those smaller cons.
May 12th.
May 12th.
Yeah, it's all about the comic books. And
that's my hood. Well, kind of. It's neighbor.
What's the guy? I always forget his name, but he's the artist that's always at our cons that we
Metcalf?
Jason
Yeah,
Metcalf.
Just
Clayton
always
Curran.
love running to him.
He's
freaking
awesome.
amazing. I had a Metcalf. Oh, I do. Metcalf,
Dude, that
Trinity.
Captain America Metcalf, Captain America standing there with the shield in his hand and he's looking down with his head hanging. That's iconic. And that's Metcalf that did that. I'm like, holy shit, dude, that's badass.
Love it.
It's really good.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on the show, Tom. And I guess we'll call it a day. Thank you for listening. Look him up on.
You're like, all right, we'll call it.
Yeah, they can't see it on the podcast. See,
They can hear it. They can't hear. Yeah, you know. And you don't have headphones on, so.
Are you not? Is this only audio? Are you guys not recording video for this?
well, most people just. Do you think anybody will watch this? Most people listen
Gotta
to
look
this.
at the three of us.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway,
It's hard enough for them
coming
just
on.
listening to his
Anything
accent.
else you want to plug, Tom Garcia?
Yeah, Geekstreet101.com to sign up for my subscription box. And yeah, you can find me at ComicTom101 on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter. And yeah, my YouTube channel is just Comic Tom. You can find me Comic Tom on YouTube. Type that in, you'll pull me right up.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on, and we'll talk later. And
All right,
geek
gentlemen.
responsible.
Yes.
Responsibly.
Responsible.
Bob.
You're
Geek
the one who made
responsibly.
that.
Geek
So, it's
responsibly.
funny.
Jesus
You're the one
Have
who
another
started
shot.
Geek responsibly.
It's just, I don't know. I didn't put enough caffeine in my coffee or something.
Caffeine?
I don't know.
Geek responsibly.
Geek responsibly, people. Come on.
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick and geek responsibly.
I got Ming to say it.
Huh?
Ming from Comic Book Man. I saw him at the con. I did
Oh,
a
I
video
know, I
with him
saw
on
that.
Instagram.
And I
Yeah.
saw you trying to get freaking McFarlane to say it, but you asked him to say it, and then you said, and also, you're like, say, could you say
Yeah.
geek responsibly,
It happens
and
so
also tell me the reason for life itself. And so he did all this stuff and forgot the first question, But yeah, that was really
It's
really
good.
cool, man. We just
Have you,
have to make that a thing.
Yeah, there's also, I'll plug it too. There's a video that I posted on YouTube, and you can spot it really quick because the thumbnail is McFarlane said what? Because
That's right.
I had a really fun conversation with him, but it pales in comparison to what he told Russ. I'm just going to leave you with this. He straight up asked Russ after Russ said, "Hey, we met a long time ago." McFarlane says, "Oh, did you have hair on your ass when we met?" Like, legitimately, that was what McFarlane said, and there's more to that story. You should check it out. It's pretty
Yeah,
funny.
look it up on YouTube's and the tweeters.
In the Twitterverse.
All right, man. Take care.
All right,
Peace.
gentlemen. Don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Got your happy ending. Feel the excitement